guys, welcome back, welcome back. It's the pre-snap read. Hey, it's the pre-snap week. We on week 6. It's the pre-snap read. We on week 6. Get it. Ooh, yeah. What's up, guys? It's the pre-snap read. You already know it is. Bridge on top, Ryan Bridges. Man,
What
I
week are
got
we
my
in? Week
lovely,
6? Week
lovely,
7?
lovely co-host right here. We got the lovely Robin McGee. You know,
Hey guys.
shoot.
Hey
Then,
guys.
then, then we got that dog eat dog girl down there.
I
Jerry Dog Goodson, man.
Yes,
What's up
sir.
with you, bro?
Yes,
What's
sir.
up?
We're
Not
here.
Jared Dog Goodson.
Hey,
Please don't hype this man up.
That's my
Once he
guy.
start hopping.
That's
shoot.
my guy.
Jerry, know I'm the wrong person there because I'm gonna hype him up.
Every
I'm the
time.
hype man to
That man
Jerry.
gonna stop hopping. Don't play the right music now.
Hey, I can't
What?
even hop right now. I'm a hop. One legged hop.
shoot, shoot,
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna find a way.
shoot.
Yeah.
All Qs find a way to hop,
You
even
right.
though if they injured, they all find a way to hop.
You
Shoot.
Listen,
right.
let Ron start playing. Dun, dun, dun,
That
dun,
I'm a
King,
dog.
dun.
king.
Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay bow wow yippee.
All right
Nah,
Man
now.
ain't
nah,
gonna be
Jerry,
hopping for
nah,
real.
nah, Jerry's song. What? That's my dog. That's
That's
my
my dog
dog.
for sure.
That's my dog for sure.
It's a lot of songs you can play now. You just got to
Yeah,
pick the
yeah.
right one.
It's true, it's true. But
Mm-hmm.
thank you guys for coming in and watching our show, man. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this page, man. Make it grow. It's growing right now. I think I'm at 120 subscribers. Slow and steady wins the race, so I'm not pressed too about it to force y'all to subscribe, but please do. You know,
Just
hit
do
that.
it.
Yeah, just do it.
Like
Like
Nike, just
Nike.
do it.
Yeah, hit the like button and all.
Friend,
Yeah.
it's us together.
Wrong way.
No,
Yeah.
but okay, Ramen, take over, take over.
Well, listen, guys, we have a lot on our agenda today, but it's going to sound like it's going to be the JSU show for sure because JSU is really hitting it home with all of these different things that they got going on. So, shout out to them. First and foremost, JSU is hosting a pro day for the Mississippi colleges in the area. JSU for sure, Mississippi Valley State. We got Alcorn State. And then they're also getting that invitation out to Delta State and Mississippi College as well. This is going to be occurring on March 21st. And of course, Deion Sanders was the kind of the epitome of why, JSU is kind of spearheading this event. One, he has stated multiple times, like, HBCUs are not getting enough attention, credit as they deserve. So definitely this is going to be huge for Mississippi Valley and Alcorn State, respectfully. But then even just extending out the invitation to Delta State and Mississippi College as well, for them to have this opportunity is continuously. Just some facts about like what this pro day can definitely do. In 21, the NFL draft produced zilch, zip HBCU draft picks, which was the ninth time that they've done that since 2000 and like 2000 flat. That there's been no players selected from the HBCU community. So I mean, Deion Sanders is doing a fantastic job on spearheading these ideas on getting our HBCU athletes the recognition that they deserve because I mean, as we've been talking about through the past couple of weeks, is these athletes are just as good as any other, athlete coming from any of these Power Five institutions, right? So this would be huge for JSU to have this event for the Mississippi schools there, putting it on for our HBCUs and our athletes. So yeah, shout out to them. Deion Sanders is really, he's the trailblazer. We needed him before, not to take away from any other coach that's out there doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like a consistent theme is that we've had so many discussions on what we want to do better and what we can do better, but is it really being done?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Deion Sanders is actually getting things done. But I like his approach though. Like it's not just about JSU, right? Like this is an opportunity for all of those Mississippi schools to have this. So I think that's why I feel like it's what he's doing has a bigger purpose behind it versus just, we're doing this just for JSU. Because I don't think that's ever been his mindset. He's trying to be like, HBCUs need this. This is how we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to get it done. And he's actually doing it. So yeah, I like this. I love that for them. I hope they have a great time. It's going to be this weekend on Monday or next week, next Monday.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. This is the first time that a HBCU has ever hosted a pro day. We always had to go to, the school that's next door, the Florida States, the Wake Forest, schools that are around the corner when we have the same facilities and same abilities to host that pro day. But I also want to spread the light. This does put a lot of pressure on those HBCU athletes to do well. Just thinking from a different side, because I kind of feel like if they don't kind of do well, if they go out there and not do as good as they're supposed to do, it's going to be like, well, we kind of wasted our time. That's what NFL is going to think. But I think honestly, I think they'll do well. I think it'll be kind of the same thing that happened at the actual NFL Combine, because we had a lot of guys that did extremely well in their 40s, in their bench presses, in their vertical jumps. So I'm expecting the same thing, just knowing how our athletes are.
Yeah. Well, back in 2019, and I have to say this story because it's real, real deep for me, but FAMU tried to host a pro day in April of 2019.
Yeah, I remember
that. Okay. And it was supposed to start at 9 a.m., pushed it back to 4 p.m. Why? Because FSU was having their pro day, same day, same time. And, they wanted to chalk it off that it was a lack of communication. Oh, the scouts didn't know. Da, 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 da. So, okay, we pushed it back because we assumed that everyone that was at FSU's pro day would just walk down the hill. Walk down the hill. You know what I'm saying? Didn't happen. So it's like, imagine how many other schools have been through that. And it's like the narrative is that, oh, this potentially is the first HBCU to host it. When it's like, really, I feel like they've been trying. It's just that they don't do anything. Like, no one comes, or they want to put out there that it's a lack of communication. I don't think there was any lack of communication. I think there wasn't, like, I feel like it was one thing was said and then turned around and said something else. That's not a lack of communication. You just being two-faced. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that was more of the things. And like, again, I'm a family rattler, so it hit me harder. But like, imagine all the other athletes that's coming from these different schools and having the same situation occur. They're setting up, they're having their, athletes be ready at a certain place, certain time. And then boom, nobody's showing up. So if anything, I really hope that that's not the case for this JSU, which, because Deion Sanders behind it, I 100% doubt that that's going to ever happen. But it's just, this is exactly what I'm saying is what we had need for prior. And I'm thankful that he's, doing the things that needs to be done. But it's like, I'm looking at all the former athletes that have already graduated, and I know they sitting in their house punching the damn air. Like, damn, I wish I was. Where was I pro day at, man? You know what I'm saying?
Like boys in the hood.
Right. Like that's upsetting. But also, again, it had to happen sometime, and it's happening now. So kudos to them.
Yeah. I will say thank you to Deion, because without him, I don't think it would be possible. Like you said, a lot of HBCUs are kind of reaching out saying, hey, we're having a pro day, you should come. But the league is kind of turning around and saying, we're not going to come to that because we don't really think your athletes are worthy. But when it comes from the mouth of Deion Sanders, one of the best in the game to ever do it, he knows talent. So if Deion's saying it, must be some players out there. So thank you to him. Shout out to Deion for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Me, just to piggyback off of what y'all two been saying, thank Deion, because HBCU's been having a problem trying to go mainstream with the NFL. Like, it's been history for years. Like, it's a battle between NFL and HBCU and NFL.
Yeah.
So thank Dion for having those connections because our coaches, yeah, they have somewhat a connection because some of them played in the NFL, but they don't have that connection that Dion has where he's like Thanos. He can just snap his fingers and literally it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So thank Dion for that. Thank him for bringing other colleges too, because he could have been secluded and said this is just for my team. I don't know how y'all gonna get whatever, but he made it open for other teams, and I like that. I like that he has a relationship with other HBCU coaches and other HBCU athletes because that's amazing for a coach like that because I don't you rarely hear that relationships with other schools with a head coach
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
are trying to be the forefront of all the HBCUs. That's very rare for, especially a black head coach. So it's very
Yeah.
rare for that to happen. And the piggyback of what Robin said, as far as FAMU, they literally the NFL scouts jet them over. But that's been happening for 2 to 3 years since
Mm-hmm.
Coach Simmons was there. When I was there, I knew a couple of dudes was like, yeah, we didn't have our pro day. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't have a pro day. They just didn't come. And I'm
Right.
like, bruh,
They literally had to, since they were all there, they
sit and
did
wait.
what they would have did, and well, yeah, they sat and wait for like 2 hours. Man,
Yeah.
like we're all former athletes. Like 2 hours of just sitting and waiting, twiddling our thumbs. Our mental capacity is overshotting. Like all of this is going on. You know what I'm saying? Just like how Jerry mentioned, like these athletes are already feeling the pressure of being able to showcase the talent to potential people that's going to be dictating their future. They're dictating your
Exactly.
future within that sport. So why would you play with these athletes like that? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They had to submit videos and stuff when it was down the street. Don't get me
Like,
started, y'all.
like, I heard one story that sometimes, they know FAMU is right there. They know FAMU is
They
right
know
there.
it.
They just purposely just going back to what they were doing and just skip over them. I'm like, bro,
Mhm.
you may find a gym. You never
Yeah.
know.
Right.
That is so crazy to me that people just have that mindset of just, oh, I'm gonna just skip over and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people, man, that are in the league, that came from HBCUs, and you can kind of tell from how they're kind of invited in from the NFL players. They're almost treated like they're unpolished, that they're kind of raw talent that doesn't really know the game. That's what they assume about HBCU athletes. They assume that our
Hmm.
knowledge is lacking. They assume that we're just off the charts with athleticism. The same assumptions that they make about black people in general are
Hmm.
now pushed upon on HBCU athletes and HBCU universities.
Yeah. No, that's facts, and that's what we're trying to get out. And I'm thinking that's exactly Deion Sanders' approach of like understanding the foundational root causes of why we are where we are, in trying to figure out ways to just push past it. And the only thing is, one is the money aspect, but two, somebody just literally taking a stand. I think that's exactly what his whole theme encompasses, is he's just making a stance for it and standing up. So it's just we need more folks like that. Like imagine if we had three other Deion Sanders, you know what I'm saying, that'll step up, even if they're not necessarily coaching at an institution, just have them step up. All these pro athletes that are like what you said, Jerry, they got some that are already in the NFL right now. Have them come back, have them make statements, be like, get in these SWAC, MEAC, whatever conference leaders' faces and be like, this is what we need to do because I'm where these kids want to be. So I
mhm.
know, a little bit more than what these athletes are knowing because they're not there yet. But I'm here, so let me, provide that information.
Yeah.
Even that could be a huge deal moving forward, having that type of relationship, So
Yeah.
hopefully these types of events will spark that. Like LeBron James didn't go to FAMU, but boom, now they got a partnership.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff we need but for the football. I feel like we're doing it really well with basketball, but we need more of it. Not just Deion Sanders. We need more of it for sure.
Well, y'all know football is always a little slower when it comes down to recognizing social equality.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Honestly, if you want an honest opinion, if you would look back into some of the standpoints when Kaepernick was kneeling, it took a little bit longer to recognize, hey, it might be right, or hey, we want to
right.
rethink. It's always
Now, how
football
long
takes
ago was
longer.
that? When did Colin Kaepernick take a knee? Like
2016.
16. Yeah.
2016?
Yeah,
And we're just now getting to a spot where we can have t-shirts that's that say Black Lives Matter at
right.
sporting events and no one looks at us crazy anymore.
And you got to
That's
think
great.
at the time when he was doing that, the NBA was on a whole different spectrum
Yeah.
of their standpoint. They would let players protest, let players take knees. They was out there in the streets with the actual protesters, like
Yeah.
protesting. So I mean, it's a whole different. It's two different worlds when it comes to the NBA and NFL.
That's a good point. That's a very good
Definitely.
point for sure. Yeah. But kudos to again JSU. They set the foundation. People need to follow. Be
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
quick. Yeah. Um, some other great pro day news. Aqeel Glass is really turning heads, guys. You know, power quarterback coming from Alabama A&M. He was actually one of the athletes that was not invited to the combine, but still is doing phenomenally with his craft. Now, I'm going to ask you, Jerry, specifically, because you're a former collegiate football player.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think are probably for the quarterback's perspective, which I know you wasn't in that position, but you know enough. What is your opinion for a quarterback to know that they're getting looked at? What are the things that they need to focus on? And then two, I feel like what is it that Aqeel kind of sets apart as coming from an HBCU athlete that he's being able to have for himself to be at the top where he is right now?
First things first. This is with any African American quarterback or African American player. Period. They're going to kind of assume that your running abilities will be a lot better than your throwing abilities. You look at
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, Malik Willis going through it right now. So I really like this guy, Aqeel Glass. He's coming from a great program at A&M. He has a great coach in Coach Connell Manor. Coach Connell Manor, I want to say, played pro ball. He was actually in every given Sunday. He was the stunt double on every given Sunday. So he has a good quarterback
Mhm.
coach to coach him to get
Oh,
him
that's a
through,
good movie.
every step he wants to do, every step he wants to take to get him to that next level. But for Kill, I think he's doing a good job of showing his strength in passing, his arm strength, his accuracy. These are some things that he's kind of been. I've been looking through the scouting reports, and they've been kind of keying that he makes great throws, especially in tight areas. So I think he's doing a really good job of showcasing that. I also think it will behoove him to
But
actually
who?
behoove. That's a big word for Elmo.
SAT word.
That's a big word.
SAT word. Let's go. Let's go.
But yes, it would really be he would be good for him to show his interview capabilities. Because like I
Mhm.
said, they kind of assume that you're lacking when it comes to knowledge of the football game itself and abilities to carry yourself and abilities to speak within an interview setting. So I think if he kind of showcases this in that pro day during the interviews, he'll be able to be one of those guys picked off in the draft. Actually, he's probably one of my highest rated players coming out from HBCUs, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Ron, where do you think that Aqeel can contribute the most? Which NFL team and why?
Sheesh.
You
Cause,
can answer this too, Jerry,
cause the
because I
way,
want to
cause
know.
the way I look at Akil, he's to me, cause I used to play receiver. He's a 50-50 quarterback. He's going to
Okay.
run and he's going to throw the ball. But I know 9 times out of 10, he's going to throw the ball before he runs. So I feel like he needs to go somewhere. It's hard because he could he can go to the Pittsburgh. I see him 3 teams because he'll be protected if he go to these 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh
Mm-hmm.
Steelers. he'll definitely be
Mhm.
protected if he go to the Pittsburgh Steelers because he's
Yeah.
known for drafting HBCU
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
So he'll be protected and he'll be brought up the right way.
Yeah.
Is
That's
what I
Mike
feel.
Tomlin.
Yeah,
Okay.
like he loves
Okay.
HBCU players. He
Yeah.
always draft one.
Yeah.
The next team I can see is the Super Bowl team. You know, the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like their coach, one of the youngest coaches in the game that won a Super Bowl. Like he's very smart as far as the coaching aspect. He's very smart. He's very knowledgeable of the game. He remember every play. Like literally remembers every play. So like just him being in that championship locker room and just being there with other players that been to the big game and
Yeah.
being behind Matthew Stafford that has a hell of an arm,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And I'm trying to think the last team I could like think about, might as well, take that bus to the Dallas Cowboys, man. Shoot.
Mm.
Ooh.
That's a bold move there.
Might as well put them in Jerry World. Cause shoot, you might as well. You got that, you got Zeke, you got Lamb. You might as well put them in Jerry World. Man, you never know what that boy can do, especially behind that Prescott and that offensive line they have
See,
and,
I
and
think
Zeke.
that's a very good point right
Yeah,
behind that
because
Prescott, because
because
that would
like
be
you
a
got to think
great
about it.
mentor for
If he's
him.
behind that offensive line, he's protected.
Yeah.
So like, even though Zeke went down with that injury, like that's a freak injury. But like,
Mhm.
if you behind that offensive line, you gonna have time to throw that ball,
Yeah.
and he gonna have time to throw that ball if you go to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Respect.
That's actually the team that I was going to say, because his game kind of reminds me a little bit of Dak Prescott, having the ability to throw and and run, but I can also honestly see him on your team, Rob. I can see him on the Saints.
So the
You guys,
Saints, that's fine.
you guys need a quarterback. You need a quarterback.
We do. Yeah.
Because the situation I got right now, you're not really knowing who's going to be the quarterback. So I can see him being, they'll probably bring in a guy that's been in the league for a while, and then have him coming in right after that to kind of learn from him.
Right.
Well, another team I can really see that has drafted one of the best HBCU players in the game right now would be the Colts. They need a quarterback as well. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them kind of linking back to HBCUs, knowing that they got a great product in Darius Leonard. From an HBCU to look back at this guy and say maybe we can do the same thing.
Yeah. I actually think, going off of what you said about the Saints, going even back to that, we have Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, like both of those players, which I don't know what they're going to do with Jameis Winston. I really don't know. And I really don't care. That's my honest opinion. I can't stand a man. But anyway, I think also I'm thinking of teams that like really need a fresh start. Like thinking of what happened with the Bengals, right? Joe Burrow coming in only second year and taking it all the way to the Super Bowl, right? I feel like that fresh start, that fresh leadership is gonna do well for some of those teams that need that because they've just been honing into the same thing for years. And I think that the Saints could definitely benefit from that. Also going back to the Cowboys, because I think that's also a great option for him. Having Dak is like I agree with you, Jerry. His play, Aqeel and Dak are like almost like mini-me, right? Like definitely have that structure of running and throwing, but good at both. And I think that's huge for, like you said, Ron, you're going to need a team that's going to protect you. And when you have a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback that's not afraid to run and pass, like you got to have an offensive line that's going to be ready and willing to move with you and protect you at any cost. So I think both of those teams, honestly, was what I was thinking. I don't really have a third team, to be honest with you. I think either of those would be great. Yeah, like that. But yeah, shout out to Aqeel, doing the damn thing, racking it up. I really do. In all honesty, I know we talk about like, him having these opportunities, but I hope that these teams see the value in this athlete. Like statistically, they can't argue with him. They can't argue with his statistics. They can't argue with his ability. It's all about you making the decision to sign him or not. So hopefully they move forward with that. But yeah, go Aqeel. making sure
Definitely.
that he gets there. Yeah. Back to JSU, coming back, still on the football vibes, but JSU has now become the first HBCU to have their spring game televised on ESPN U. So shout out to them. I think that'll be huge. Now, from you guys' perspective, what is the benefit of having your spring game televised?
Of course, the first thing is exposure. You know, we always want to bring shed light to these universities, and we always want to bring exposure to these universities. Having it on ESPN, you might catch somebody in the hospital like, "Oh, what is JSU? Who is
Mm-hmm.
JSU? Oh, Deion Sanders." I want to go there. I want to be around that environment. I want to be around it when I go to a game on Saturday to see Deion Sanders, to be able to see one of the greatest to play the game. And not only that, to see what he's producing as far as athletes. I think it's a great time for that. Also, it's a good time to show what the program has.
Yeah.
A lot of times, you know, spring ball isn't really the complete product, but you get kind of a flash of what's coming up in the future. A lot of new guys that you bring in, you know, from recruiting, you'll see those guys play and see how well they do. So it's a good time for that. Also, it's a good time for other teams and that are playing against them. You know, so they'll be able to see what they got going on as scouting to see how to prepare for them. So all around, I think it's going to do well not only for JSU but for other teams in the SWAC.
Yeah, for sure. The exposure piece is huge, 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 huge. Good for them.
So
Ron, what do you have?
I'm 50-50 about this. Cause
Okay.
shout out to my boy Oscar. You know, he did a good analysis about it. We talked about it on the show. That we as HBCU fans, as HBCU alumni, students, athletes, we all want to be on ESPN. You know,
Yeah.
when I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is good. You know, they get to see Jackson State, they get to see Coach Prime, they get to see the swagger, the culture, and all this other stuff, which is fine and which is cool. Like I love it. I love the idea. But at the end of the day, like, what about our network? What about, you know, HBCU game day pass? Like they have a whole network. They have a whole app, whole network for HBCU. Why couldn't we partner up with them to have all the spring games televised instead of
Mm-hmm.
just highlighting one school? You know, like that's like I'm 50-50 about it because I understand the magnitude of this. Like
Yeah.
it's a big deal. But at the end of the day, like when are we going to get our own network?
Yeah.
When are we going to, you know, not settle for less and take it upon ourselves to monetize HBCU everything?
Yeah.
So I'm happy about it, but at the end of the day, like we need to get our own so we can stop going out to people and asking them, can we do this? Can we do
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Instead of we just do it. We don't have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
We just send the person who runs HBCU game day, hey, our game is this day at this time. They bringing a camera crew. You know what I'm saying? So like it's good. I'm a definitely watch it. I'm not going to not watch it. I'm a definitely watch it and support
Yeah.
because I want to see. I really want to see how these how all these boys do in the game. I hope no one gets injured and all that other stuff. But I really want to see how they do, and you know I'm ready for that Orange Blossom Classic. I'm ready for that game.
Yeah.
Hands down, I'm ready for that game because we need bring our receipts back. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we waiting on y'all. Just know JSU,
Mm-hmm.
we waiting on y'all. And this year ain't looking like y'all year this year. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm done though. But yeah, I'm proud of them for doing that. But at the same day, you know, try to monetize HBCU, you know, sports.
Let me speak on that before we actually move on because we'll have to agree to disagree, Ron. Because for me, as being the business mindset I have, being a teacher of business, owner of a business, it's more so of it's a baby step taken towards that, you know, because think about it like an internship. You got to intern with somebody before you can have your own. You got to learn how
Yeah,
to do it yourself before you can take that step outside. And from a business mindset, before you do your own work, you have to first outsource. So this is what we're doing right now. We're outsourcing. So until we get to the point where we can do it in-house.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm kind of taking from it. I think we
Yeah.
will get to the point where we get to a big enough platform of having the JSUs, of having the FAMUs out there where people are wanting to go to the game, to wanting to actually attract that environment. We can have our own network. But at this particular moment, I don't know if they'll have the attention of as large of a platform as JSU right now. You know what I'm saying? Because
I get what
everybody, I think a lot of people are watching JSU because of Dion. A lot of people, like a lot of graduates, HBCU graduates, are watching, FAMU, other small universities, A&T, things like that. But the whole United States knows about Jackson State. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
This commercial break is brought to you by Art by Elise. Man, she is an amazing talent from Miami, Florida. She went to FAMU. Man, all her description be down below, but you can tell the talent's there. You're gonna get good quality art, man. But I had to put the best last. FAMU, man, we out here. Description be down below. Thank you, Elise.
I get what you're saying. My thing is this. Like, you have this is just, like I said, I was talking earlier today. You have Tyler Perry, you have Oprah, you have Kevin Hart, you have Will Packer, you got 50 Cent. That's like five people.
That's billions of
And
dollars.
that does business in producing.
Mhm.
They produce movies, shows, everything you can think of. They produce. They know how to work. They know how to work the system.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this: why can't they get them or have a phone conversation and sit down and say, "Hey, Kevin Hart, do you want to have a sports network? It can be everything HBCU."
Mm-hmm.
He got his own television show. Even Tyler Perry. I know Tyler Perry would love that. Tyler Perry, do you want your own sports network show? It's based in it. His headquarters is in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
You don't have to go to California. You can go to Atlanta. You don't have to go to New York for ESPN. You can go to Atlanta to get a film crew.
Yeah, you're right. I see what you're saying on that, from that side of people we can bring in. I'll agree with that. I think that it is true. But don't forget about BET, man. BET really had the platform to do so. We had, what was it? College Hill. We had campus tours, all of that. If they would have took that and then flipped it into an ESPN version of HBCUs, man, that would have been incredible. They would still making money right now.
Well, guys, let's not forget, SWAC does have a digital network. It's for online and live events. The only thing about it is it's very hit or miss on what events they actually utilize the network. And honestly, they haven't been doing anything with it since 21. You know what I mean? So that's why it's kind of fall to the wayside. So I understand basically both of you guys' points. Because one, yes, you do need to outsource. You do need the external education and help and the rapport that you're building with all those folks that you are now gaining those relationships with now that we have ESPN on board, right? But then I feel like also we need to go back and actually look at exactly what we do have and start to improve upon it, or just get rid of it and start something new and fresh. Because I'm a full believer, many hands make the work. You know what I'm saying? All of these people that are coming in that are, donating money, giving us the platform, all of these different things, that's all nice and cool. But if you're not giving back to your own foundational root, what are you really doing? Because then everybody it's before you know it, then we're not going to have any HBCU conferences. We're everybody going to be trying to get into other people because, that's how they think that the world works. We have to exit out of where we're from in order to get to where we're trying to go. And that's not the point of all of this. The point of it is to then get the exposure so that you can bring it back. So I think whatever they do learn or whatever relationship that they're building with ESPN now that they're having this spring game is like, okay, now that we learn how to do this, let's try to implement that knowledge into building up our own, like you said, around our own network. You know what I'm saying? Our own platform. So because how many sporting events, do we know that we see is aired on different networks?
Yeah.
ESPN, SEC, ABC, NBC, like they're all on different networks at once. And that's what we're trying to get to a point where it's not just about ESPN, nor is it not just about, the SWAC. Like we want to have all the types of different exposures on all different type of platforms and areas. So I think if anything, I hope that they can, strive for that type of future, essentially, with having this like that. But I definitely see, the aspect of don't forget where you came from. I feel like that's huge, especially for HBCUs. You can get all hot and bothered. You know what I'm saying? Like we seeing so many things with JSU. You know what I'm saying? Getting the money, getting the deals, getting all this stuff, and it's just like, okay, but don't forget where you come from. Don't get too big. Your head get too big, and then you just be like, oh, we not associated with them anymore because they're not up to our level. No, send the elevator back down so you can elevate us back up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No, I got
Did I hear some gunshots?
Send the elevator back down so we can come back up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm just saying, y'all, I love my HBCUs, but we gotta do better.
Ooh.
That's we already know that we gotta do better. But yeah, shout out JSU, doing it big, doing it great. So hope they have a great time. Now we are gonna go a little bit of scandal with JSU before we get off of that little train here.
And JSU show.
Yeah. But in a different kind of context, the ownership of the Southern Heritage Classic. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago, how JSU was trying to pull out of the Southern Heritage Classic and it was a whole debacle. And then now they're going back onto it, but they're only doing it for this year. So this is their last year that they're going to be participating with the Southern Heritage Classic. Now, there's a lot of, different reasoning about why they're pulling out. And one of the consistent reasons is because they're now having scheduling conflicts for 23 and 24, years 23 and 24, which is why they're pulling out after this year. Now, the ownership of the Southern Heritage Classic, which is a couple of companies kind of put together. I don't know who the whole sole ownership is of Southern Heritage Classic, but it's in Memphis. They're suing JSU and the SWAC. They're suing JSU for $1.8 million, and they're suing the SWAC for $5.4 million for breaching contract because they're not holding their end of the deal by continuing the 23 season and the 24 season with the Southern Heritage Classic. Now, it's like, it's a double-edged sword, right? Yep. JSU is saying that the reason why they're pulling out is because we're trying to basically have more options within their schedule, right? And they've already set these schedules up. Okay, let's take UAPB. UAPB is getting the shorter end of the stick right now because now that JSU is no longer pulling back, UAPB doesn't have anybody to play during the weekend that they were supposed to play JSU. Nobody's really talking about that, right? We're all so focused on the Southern Heritage Classic and whether it's happening, whether it's not happening. But the reason why is because they were trying to create some versatility and get these other teams some experience playing. And now they're getting this sort of end of the stick, UAPB. They're not happening. And then on this side, you got the Southern Heritage Classic that's suing them. Like, I don't really know if this is the best route to really go with this because I'm sitting here like this, like totally understanding. We talked about this, that these Memphis, small businesses, the fans, all of those things, TSU, they're experiencing some frustrations as well, because what does that mean for them as far as monetary expenses and getting revenue and getting exposure to their university and their businesses and all this other stuff. But I'm just like, can y'all just pick another team? Like, I don't know. I'm feeling really weird about, like, I don't know. I don't want this to be like a whole, we just trying to get the money type of thing, which nobody's gonna explicitly say that, but everybody be like, well, I'm gonna sue you so I can get some money. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna say it, but that's what they all be thinking. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, because I feel bad for UAPB. I feel bad for JSU, because all they've been trying to do is just switch up their schedule. But I don't know. They say, and I say they as like the ownership of Southern is basically saying, like, the SWAC has persuaded JSU to inflict conflicts in their schedule. They're saying that the SWAC intentionally interfered. That's quotes. Interfered, and therefore is why they're suing SWAC even more than they're suing JSU. Both of them getting sued, but one has more money than the other, accreditably. So
Right.
I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
Me starting off, I don't think any other school has anything to do with this but JSU. That's personally what I feel. But knowing, living in the area in Memphis, I know they're gonna try to get the most money out of whoever they can get the most money out of in a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So with them suing JSU, it's like I get a little bit of change. But if I sue the whole conference, I'm about to make a lot of money.
5.4 million, guys.
Right.
That ain't no chump change.
So I think that's what they're trying to like, not the gross systems.
They said y'all can go.
Where my money, Penny? Where my money, Penny? All right, next time you better have it.
Right.
In my hand.
But I mean, I feel like they have very valid grounds to stand on. They breached the contract, but I do think all this should be targeted towards JSU. These other schools, they don't really have too much say so. I think JSU just wanted to get out of it, honestly, and they should be the one that pay the price for it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, see, I'm gonna put my little. See, I used to be a JPO, so I'm gonna put my little JPO.
Here we go.
And I used to, dib and dab a little contract. You know what I'm saying? But okay, first thing first, you got the SWAC, and you got JSU, then you got TCU and the Southern Heritage Classic. So TCU is with the Southern Heritage Classic right now, because they love it. JSU.
You said TCU or TSU?
TSU, my bad.
TSU,
my bad.
Thank
you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me.
No, we got you, Ryan. We got you. TSU.
I was going too fast. All right. But so you got the size divided. So first thing first, let's go back to it. Jackson State wanted more money. That's what it came down to. They've been sucking for all these years, and now they got good old Holy Christ Deion Sanders. Now they like, we the cream of the crop. We the top of the world. Everybody pay us our money. Give us our reparations. Give us 40 acres and a mule. And the owner of the Southern, he was like, first of all, nigga, what about all them years that y'all wasn't hot? Y'all was garbage, and y'all couldn't fight your way out of a plastic bag, out of a wet plastic bag. So what about them years? We just ain't going to renegotiate contract, because all them years y'all was trash. I had to make up for it. I had to help y'all.
Yeah.
So, once you get into all that, and now the SWAC set the game up in Birmingham for JSU. The SWAC set all the game up because they still had a game for Southern and JSU to play in Birmingham. Then Jackson State was supposed to play UAPB in Birmingham. So, like, they was like, probably when they heard about it, they was like, okay, we just gonna pull out, because that sounds good to us. You just gonna pull out. And when they pulled out, and when they saw the SWAC did that, they was like, that's like a slap in the face. Like, so you just gonna pull out and not tell me, and I can't get another team. and all this other stuff, because initially the SWAC created their own classic,
Yeah.
and now that the SWAC tried to create their own classic, the person that runs Southern Heritage Class like, oh, so the SWAC involved with it too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right,
Mm.
all right, I got you, motherfucker. All right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go down to the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
So you think they got grounds to stand on? You think they gonna go all the way with that one with the SWAC?
You gotta think about this. You sign a contract. First, we don't know the whole in depth of the contract, but
Right.
it may. I'm pretty sure it's a buyout. But at the end of the day, there has to be a buyout time. There has to be
Yeah.
some time limit on certain things that they gotta know. So like, we don't know the contract fully, but I'm pretty sure that person who's suing them, they know the contract. And like,
Yeah.
they did not, I feel like in my heart, they did not give him enough time to reschedule a team. Because if they was
Right.
gonna pull out, like, they should have been said it like right after the season. If you would have
Yeah.
said it right after the season, that would have gave enough time for an ample amount of teams that's in the SWAC to play TSU.
Yeah.
Giving them
Yeah.
like a whole bunch of, then you have to think about his finances as far as, you know, him renting the stadium,
Yeah.
vendors, all that other stuff. All that stuff was about to go downhill if they did not play this year. And he would have to pay all them people back. He would have to play that stadium back. Like, it costs money to rent a stadium. So
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like
I think
feel,
we got to think about it like this. It's like our apartment, right? You sign a lease for your apartment. Once you get out, once you breach that contract, what they tell you to do, you got to pay up.
run me my money.
3 months
Right?
rent at least. Where I'm
At
from.
least.
Unless in some apartments, and we can kind of cater this to like your point, Ron, is that either you don't have time to find a subleaser or someone to take over that lease, right? Or they don't allow it because why? They have to cater this event to what's going to bring them the equal amount of revenue as JSU would. And we talked about this last time, is who would TSU play? If not JSU, to bring in that much. But then as we get into the different teams, we have to cater to them in the travel and all of those people coming in. JSU is so closer, I would say, to Tennessee State as opposed to a Southern, as opposed to a Grambling, all the other schools that we name, as opposed to FAM. Like you're getting further and further apart. So in that respect, I definitely understand where you're coming from, Ron. It's like either one or two things. They shouldn't have created that new schedule with UAPB in it until they knew for sure that they were able to get out. And that's why UAPB is so pissed, because it's like, why y'all even brought me into it? Like you said, Jerry, this ain't even got nothing to do with y'all. Yeah. So why are we in it? Why? Because y'all told us that we was okay to schedule the game. Now, boom, y'all got to go back and like, what's going to happen with us? Like, in that respect, I definitely understand. I can understand that 100% of why they like, nah, y'all can go, but y'all definitely gotta pay up.
Then think about this, Robin. The city of Birmingham put up so much money for those two games.
Yeah,
they put up so much money for those two games to bring money back to the community.
Correct. Yeah.
So
right.
So even the city of Birmingham getting the short end of a stick because they expected 2 games this year.
Yeah,
they're expecting 2 games this year. And now they're only expecting 1. So what about that money they put up for that second game?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, true. Now that I think about it, when you change your schedule, you do have to run it through your conference office. So that is the pinpoint of how I think they can tie it back in with the SWAC, because definitely you have to run it through a conference office. They have to check off on it. And nobody ever let them know, like, hey, we're not doing this. They just kind of move behind their back. So, yeah, I agree with you now. I think you're right. So I think the point of the story, cut all your ties off with your ex before you move on to the next girl.
How did you get there?
Stupid.
How did you get there? I gave an analogy there with the ring. You talk about some cut all your ties with your ex before you move on. But that's true though, because now we got baggage. Now it's a toxic relationship. Now our asses gotta go to court and somebody gotta pay child support. It don't make sense.
Your letter, your mail at my address, his mail at my address, everybody mail at my address, and now they trying to figure out who really live here.
Old girl mad, new girl mad, everybody mad.
Everybody's upset.
Everybody,
So
even the kids upset.
Look, what Cameron said, someone's gotta go. Who's gonna be? But nah, I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I would not be surprised if Southern Heritage Classic, the company, wins this case. Because it is. Once we, like you said, Jerry, as we really kind of talk it out, it makes sense why they would ask for that, because it's not just about JSU anymore. It should have been, but they've added on new parties that now are playing a role into it. The city of Alabama, you got UAPB, you got Memphis, city of Memphis, you got Tennessee State, all of those things. And I'm sure that they probably going to divide all that out. I would hope so, because it's not just the company that's at fault here. It's everybody that's affiliated. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised.
Think about this. Think about the SWAC. Will they put another SWAC school in that classic? That's
what I'm
the bad
saying.
taste in their mouth.
And who would it be?
Because I know damn near your top tier. Well, you got to count Jackson State out. Your top tier three teams are not going. FAMU has the Orange Blossom Classic. They're not going.
Correct. They're not going.
Definitely not going. And I'm trying to think. Southern, they probably are not going. So you cancel all, you put a bad taste in the SWAC mouth already because of what happened, what transpired because of the SWAC. So now you get sued. So now you be like, I don't want no part.
I honestly think JSU should just finish out the damn contract.
Yeah.
That's the safest option. Yep. And y'all make sure y'all get UAPB where they need to be. With another team, and I feel like that should be all hands on deck with that. Because it sucks for them, but it sounds more chaotic to go through this process, which I'm sure they're not. I'm sure JSU is already committed to not continuing. I feel like they're not going to go back on their word for that. But I'm just saying, in hindsight, they should have just stuck it out. I don't know why they had to switch up that. Yeah. You only got 2 years. I could see if you was like, damn, we got 5 more years of this. You got 2 more years, bro. And one of the years is coming up this year.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I can see the conference office kind of rain down their rules on it if it doesn't get sorted out itself, saying that you guys got to play this game or we will find you. You know, not just from the suing. We're going to find you as a conference. You know, you guys play them, and then they can get somebody else to play Pine Bluff. You know, they can, even if they have to pay somebody, it'll be less than what they got to pay for their actual lawsuit.
Right now, they're gonna be out $5 million.
They ain't got
y'all just could have. Yes. Here go me, Jerry. I said, "Who got money, guys?" And where y'all hiding that money?
Right.
We is not SEC. We is not the SEC or the ACC.
I said, "What y'all doing with that money?"
They're gonna rename the conference SHC. SHCC, Southern Heritage Classic Conference. That's what it's gonna be called.
Southern Heritage Classic. Look, they probably gonna get more money out of that because I said,
the Southern Heritage
Classic. Change the name on it, man.
I said, look, I ain't in nobody's pocket, but
Dr. McCulley. Oh God, he gonna own him. He gonna own the SWAC.
Meals,
and old people don't let stuff go. You remember that time when old
you remember that time?
You remember that time when prime time back not the Southern Heritage Classic?
They forget short stuff like what they had yesterday, but that long term stuff,
they gonna remember that forever.
That's the hand they fan with. See, I told you, I tried to tell you not to do that. Mm-hmm. But man, listen, it's crazy. The scandals continue.
Make sure you follow the Priest Now Read on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to make this page grow. I see y'all. I'm out.